Hello and welcome to Dark and Stormy Book Club. Today we will talk with Joyce Elaine and Rosalie Spielman, two of our Fright Reads authors. Enjoy!
I'm Ann Dart.
I'm Tracy Stormy.
And I'm Kathy Knight.
And together we are
It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club,
a podcast for mystery lovers.
Welcome.
If you enjoy our show, please consider contributing to the Dark and Stormy Patreon. By becoming a patron, you will help us create better and quality content. There are also benefits to becoming a patron, such as exclusive content and Dark and Stormy merchandise. Become a supporter at patreon.com/darkandstormybc. Check our website for the link. We appreciate any and all contributions. Thank you.
We are very pleased to welcome Joyce Elaine to our program. She is one of the authors who will be featured at Fright Reads this year. Welcome, Joyce.
Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about what you write?
Sure. So I'm actually relatively new to writing. I only have 2 books out right now, and it's 2 of 3 that's going to be like a 3-book series. So my book is The Gift of Death. It's a psychological thriller. In the first book, it's about this family that's being terrorized by someone. A friend of theirs is also being terrorized. It just so happens that the father is a lieutenant for the Maryland State Police. So he starts investigating. And he soon realizes that a secret that he's had since he was 18 is the cause of everything that's been happening. So he's got to find this guy and stop him before he kills him, his family, his friends, everyone he knows. The bad guy in the book, Sean Crawl, believes that when he kills someone, he's given them a gift, which is why it's called The Gift of Death. And in the second book, it's pretty much all about revenge. The Gift of Death, revenge from both sides. Both sides are trying to get revenge on each other. And I'm currently writing the third one. I'm about halfway done. I hope to be done by the end of this year.
What will that one be called?
That one's going to be called The Final Gift, of course.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So will that be just 3-book series?
I plan to stop after the third. I'm contemplating a spinoff from the book, like taking one of the characters and starting a new series. But that'll be a while. I want to take a break from it and work on new projects. That's what I'm going to do for now.
Well, Misty is an author, so she could probably give you some tips and hints.
I need all the help I can get.
I'm here for all of it. I'm here. I've been publishing since 2005, so there's really nothing that I haven't run into or done. If you've got any questions, you are totally more than welcome to ask or email or whatever.
And she will also be at Fright Reads as an author.
Yeah, it's going to be.
We can all chat. These sound very interesting, and I'm definitely going to be checking these out. This is right in my wheelhouse. What got you interested in this type of story?
Well, I've always been a fan of Stephen King. The first book I read of his was Cujo when I was probably about 15, 16. And I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. And so I've always enjoyed that genre. I never imagined myself writing in it, but I got the idea from a song and I kind of took the song and took it to a dark place.
What's the song?
Now, see, if I tell you that, it's going to ruin the plot.
Oh, no, okay. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
I will tell you that the song came out in 1990. It's like a soft rock song. If you know the song, when you get to a particular chapter, you're going to notice it right away.
All right. Well, after I read it, you'll have to tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, deal.
Now I want to know if it's Lita Ford and Ozzy Osbourne. I said,
you say Lita Ford?
Lita Ford and Ozzy Osbourne. What was that called? Close Your Eyes? No. Yes.
I'll tell you, it's not that song, but you're in the right area.
Okay.
I got you. Well, I'll be looking forward to that then. I don't write darker like that. I'm the cozy mystery, so mine are like there's somebody dead, but it's lighter, I guess, funnier. And I always am like, what would I do if I had to live in that headspace for 80,000 words? So do you find yourself having to counterbalance, deep dive into that kind of psychotic killer brain, I'm assuming, then to like counterbalance it later with like petting puppies and stuff?
Yeah, so when I have to write one of the more darker scenes, I usually turn on some heavy metal to get me in the mood. And then once I finish, I'll turn on some classical. I like all kinds of music. So when I first wrote this book, I was in a bad place in my life. So it was easy for me to just get it out there.
Yes.
I'm in a good place now, and it's harder for me to go into that dark place.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Oh,
so
yeah. Well,
I think that's why I want to close it real quick. I want to be done with this series because of that.
It's always interesting to me when you're talking to a different author, and even when you're talking to readers. Authors tend to try to figure out how life works while we're writing. And so while you may not be going through the exact thing that your characters are going through, often you are going through something that you're like mimicking in it. So maybe it's not the exact scenario, but it's a scenario that involves the same kind of feelings. It's almost like cheap therapy, as long as you didn't buy a really expensive computer. And you're just like working out, okay, I'm really, really angry right now. What would I do if I was and how do I work through? So maybe you're really angry about your neighbor who can't seem to stop letting their dog poop on your lawn. But you can transfer that then into anger at somebody who wronged you. But now, as an author, you're never going to tell it on a low level. No, we go big. We go really big.
Go home.
And so do you find that that's why
right.
you're struggling, is that you don't have that same dark spot that you're in? And so now you're kind of trying to recapture it?
Yeah, and it's been very difficult for me, but
all right.
That's why I turn on the heavy metal, because although heavy metal, I believe, is really like a really good stress reliever.
Yes.
But I believe it can also put you in that dark spot if you're really listening to it.
Your books are the kind of books that I love to read. Like I just read one by Nick Cutter that just blew me away. Very scary. But I need books like Misty's as a palate cleanser and to take me out of the dark.
Yeah.
So my world, I make sure I fit in both.
Because even as you're reading them, you're still sinking into that place.
Oh, you sure
I do
are.
think when you're writing them, you're probably deeper than the person will get, that you get out of that book what you're looking for. Because Tracy, you and I could read the exact same book, and it is going to hit us differently depending on where we are in life. I could read that book 10 years from now, and it's still going to hit me differently than it did the first time, because again, I'm in a different place in life. So Joyce, do you think once you're done with this, you said you're going to move in a different direction, do you want to go lighter, or are you like, what are we looking at?
I really like the psychological thriller genre. So I probably will still write in that genre, but my scenes aren't going to be as dark and crazy. When you read my book, you'll know what I mean. I want to be able to
like
put something
a domestic suspense or something like that.
My next book idea is going to be about a house, but it's not going to be a haunted house because there's too many stories about haunted houses. But it's going to be a house that causes people to do strange things, and it's not going to be, ghosts or spirits or anything like that. And that's going to be kind of based on some true stories of my life. In my old house, my parents' old house. So
I love it.
I kind of want to keep it creepy, but not too creepy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
If people like what you write, they're going to be willing.
Yeah, they'll shift.
Like if you go from what you're talking about writing, which is like deep, dark thriller, and then all of a sudden you give me like Anne of Green Gables, I might give you a little bit of a side eye waiting for the dark stuff. As long as you're still on the same freeway, I guess is what I call it, and you're just shifting lanes, I think people will come along with you.
Do you self-publish?
I do. I self-publish right now only through Amazon. I made a mistake when I put out my first book and only doing Amazon. And I feel like since the second one, I just put it out on Amazon, and the third one will be on Amazon. But once I finish this series, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. probably go through Ingham Spark first. That way I can publish in bookstores and stuff like that. And I didn't want to start over because then I have to pull my books down from Amazon, lose what little reviews I have. I didn't want to do that. So, but yeah, I'm doing it all myself. I pay for my editing and it's all me.
Well, Misty does both. So she has a good perspective of what the difference is.
Well, and I do only Amazon. So I write for Kensington, which is out of New York City. And then I also, well, I've written for a lot of publishers, but currently Kensington self-publishing.
Makes sense.
Good job.
That answers my other question. Where can they find your books? The next question is, do you have a website?
I do. It's joyceelainewrites.com. And if you go to my website, there's links for all my books on Amazon.
For our listeners out there that are going to be attending Fright Reads, you'll have to check Joyce out, and I'm sure you'll have books there, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Ooh. Did you guys see the Gift of Death cover?
No, let me check it out.
This is a self-destructive trope that discriminates against no one. Woo! I am
the second one. You're looking at the second one.
The Gift of Death, but
yeah,
still, wow,
revenge.
That's
I like that.
That's saucy. I definitely.
Who designs your covers?
I went with a company. They're called 100 Covers. And
awesome.
They've done both of my covers for me.
Well, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Listeners, seriously, go over to Joyce Elaine. So JoyceElaine Writes, WRITS.com, and check out that link. And she also has a space on there where you can contact her and sign up for the newsletter. That's a beautiful, beautiful cover. I'm like, I just want to own it, even if I can't read it right away. I just want to. I want to see that.
Did pretty good. I gave them my idea, and they just ran with it. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Well, Joyce, we thank you for talking and we look forward to meeting you in person.
Too.
We wish you the best and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Our next interview is with the lovely Rosalie Spielman.
We are pleased to welcome to the program Rosalie Spielman. She is one of our Fright Reads authors. Welcome, Rosalie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Is this your first year? I'm sorry if I don't know.
No, this is my second year doing this. The location is only about 15 minutes from me, so it seemed like a no-brainer to go. It was a lot of fun, and Kathy Wiley sat with me last year. She had the table next to me, joining me a little bit this year too.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see all the different vendors and look at all the cool things.
And all it's doing is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which is great.
Right, it's 2 days this year instead of one.
For those who are not familiar with your work, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your writing?
Sure. I'm a cozy mystery writer, which a cozy mystery, of course, is like Murder, She Wrote or, Agatha Christie, where there's nothing gory and on the screen, nothing you wouldn't want your grandmother or your 15-year-old daughter to read. I write for 2 different series. One of them is the Aloha Lagoon series, which has, I think at this point, there's 11 different authors and 20 different books. The book that will come out in October is the 20th book, and that one is one of mine.
Wow.
I also write a different series that is called Hometown Mysteries. And my main character there is a veteran, and it's based in a small town in Idaho.
Very cool. Did you start the Cozy Mystery World Share, or were you invited into that, or how does that work?
The Aloha Lagoon?
Yes.
I had signed with my agent, and it was while she was shopping my first book, which was the Hometown Mysteries. Gemma Halliday Publishing announced that they were looking for more writers. And even though I hadn't had anything published yet, I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring, and
why not?
She liked what I offered. So
that is awesome. I love it. That's fabulous. Do they put out a call for, hey, this is the next one we need, or?
No, she does contracts like, most publishers. And we just sat down and said, okay, we're going to do this time frame. So I have a Halloween one this year, and my next one, which as far as I know, is my last one, is next spring. That'll be my fourth one. She also publishes my hometown mysteries, and I got a contract for 3 of them. So the third of that one comes out in November.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just finished writing the 4th of my Aloha Lagoon books, and now I'm just on hold waiting to see if I'll get more contracts for those.
Awesome. Do you find that you've really enjoyed sharing that world with other authors and, being able to also put forth their books at your signings?
So out of the series of 20 books with the 11 different authors, we often have little guests of each other's characters come in. And so that's fun. I thought for my first one, which was 16, Death Under the Sea, since my character is a dive tour leader, I thought it would make sense to have the surf instructor from one of the other authors. Her character, Sam, is a surf instructor. And so she comes in my books occasionally. So we all have our own characters and we kind of interact them a little bit. But other than that, like if you wanted to just pick up my 16th book, Death Under the Sea, you wouldn't be confused because we share the resort, the Aloha Lagoon Resort, and we share the detective. Other than that, we have our own character arcs. So you could start with book 16, you could book 5, book 8, whatever.
I love it.
That's how that works.
Fun idea.
It is a lot of fun. And I get to meet other writers. I mean, I've never actually met any of them in person yet because Beth Prentice is her name that writes the surf instructor. She lives in Australia, so I may never meet her. If I write a scene with her character, I send it to her to make sure that it's true to her character and her vision. So
that's awesome.
we're not, messing with each other's characters.
Right. Because you don't want it to be like, okay, here's your instructor. And she's like, oh yeah, mine would have never done that. Shoot,
Exactly.
now what do I do? I would assume you don't want to overwrite somebody else. So that is very cool. And so do you ever find that it can be great then to get back into your hometown mysteries where it's just you?
Yeah, it's different. And I've had people ask me, how do you write 2 series? Don't you get them confused? And I'm like, not at all. Because Kiki from Aloha Lagoon she's 26, she's young. And my main character in the hometown books is an Army retiree. So she's about 46. Right. And she returns home to her small hometown. They're both single, of course, like they always kind of need to be in cozies. But the hometown is all me. Like it was written before I even got my agent, of course. That's how I got my agent. And it's a lot more personal to me because I am a veteran. My husband is a retiree. My dad is a retiree. My sister's a retiree. My brother's a veteran. And I was a military spouse for 24 years.
Wow.
It's like, that's personal to me that it's kind of sharing that part of my life. I'm originally from Idaho, and the town that I call New Oslo in my books is based on the town that I was born in, which was a tiny little town.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you feel like there are people to you then, I guess?
Very much so. Tessa is my main character, and her aunt is Aunt Edna. As you make a character, and they're almost people, they're live people to you. That's why when somebody says, do you get them confused? I'm like, no. Would you get 2 people confused? I mean, sometimes yes. I definitely get people confused occasionally, but
that happens.
But the books, and they're creations of our mind, but they're still people to us.
Right. One of the things I think that we try as authors to do is make those people also alive enough to hit on our readers wanting to come back and see how they are. What's happening in the world now, and what is Mama Shirley doing, and what is my friend so-and-so doing, and so that can really make a difference if you're bringing that into your world.
And I think the local people in the actual town, my parents moved back a couple of years ago, so they live there again, and they work at the Historical Society, which features fairly heavily in my second and third book. They've had people come up to them and go, oh, I know who this is. This is so-and-so. And my dad just had to tell him, no, she hasn't lived here since she was like 6. She doesn't know anybody here. She's inventing those people. I have a little fan base in a tiny town in Idaho. So
I love it.
It's fun. Yeah, it's great.
Why not?
You said your next book would be your last?
For the Aloha Lagoon, she only has people writing 4 or 5 free 4-book
Oh,
books.
okay.
And I kind of planned the character arc for a 4-book arc. She hasn't offered anymore, but I wasn't intending to do any more Aloha Lagoon. My hometown books, I'm just waiting to see if she's interested in more. One of the fun things about publishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super fun.
You live right near Millersville.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing a series where you are?
I have thought about that. With the proposal that I'm writing now, that was one of my considerations, trying to decide if I want to set it here. This might sound terrible, but we're a military family. I'm used to moving every 3 years. We've been here for 7 now. He's retired, so we don't have to move, but I'm kind of like itching to move. So I'm hesitant to set it anywhere that I'm just going to, end up leaving anyway. But I guess that wouldn't really matter. I mean, I don't live in Idaho anymore, and I don't live in Kauai, so I can write it anywhere. But I've thought about it, but I haven't. I haven't done that yet. I've only ever lived in a single house consecutively 6 years.
Okay.
Because I, go to college, come back, that kind of thing. I actually broke the record this year. We have lived in this house 6 years now, so my record is broken.
Nice.
But we're just used to it, 11 moves in 24 years or something like that. I can't remember exactly how many. And I added up the how many schools my kids went to, just because I was writing a blog, and it's kind of crazy to military people. It's not crazy, but to civilians, a lot of times they're like,
but
what?
To military kids, they're used to it. It doesn't.
Definitely.
I love it. Well, and there are so many different ways of living. It's not like any of them are the perfect one, and they're perfect for different people. So you have a lot of different experiences, and people are there for all different kinds of characters. So there's no wrong way to do that.
My character Tessa, she didn't necessarily want to move home. Anywhere but home is what she was thinking. I have the whole world open to me, and the Army's not telling me where to go now. I could go anywhere. And then, she ends up saying there, of course, but don't tell anybody who hasn't read the first book that yet.
That's okay. I don't think we have spoiled that too much. That's usually how they start out. They don't want to be there. They are there. They figure out that it's actually not as bad as they thought it was going to be. And maybe this is where home is, or home for the moment. I don't know how you are. I struggle past like book 6, 7 in a series, because I like my characters to grow in each book. And, the woman who wrote all of the alphabet mysteries, she was talking about, if I had thought about this ahead of time, that is 26 times that I have to make her go through things. Yeah. And you could run out of stuff, or some of it feels forced or whatever. And so, there's a perfect out, I guess, for a character. If you're 6 books in, you're like, okay, I want to move on to new ideas, so we're going to stop this one. You could make her move and choose a different job, and now you're done. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And there's so many different ways that you can do it. And I love the cozy mystery for exactly the reasons that you said. Yeah. They're welcoming, but also justicey, which I like the justice. But I also like coming back for the community, because the community tends to be a very big part of the cozy mystery world also. Yeah, I've always said that setting is one of the characters for cozy mysteries.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. How exciting. I can't wait to come by your table and see your stuff.
Thank you. I can't wait to see your stuff too.
Thanks. We'll see what I decide to bring.
Well, Rosalie, we thank you for talking with us, and we look forward to seeing you at Fright Reads and getting to chat over the mayhem that goes on there.
I look forward to it too.
Yeah.
And we thank you, and you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. You too. I wanted to add that my publisher, Gemma Halliday, has offered to donate a portion of her proceeds from the pre-orders, the first week of sales of my hometown book. We did this with the first one, and she donated over $300. So if you pre-order or buy in the first week of sales, then you'll be part of a donation. We agreed to do it again for the third book. So
Oh,
we'll be doing the
wonderful.
donation again.
That is awesome.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Rosalie.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Trivia. Last week's question was, where did the author Carol Nelson Douglas find Midnight Louie? A, at the ASPCA. B, a neighbor gave him to her. C, in the newspaper. Or D, he was found on her doorstep. The answer was C, in the newspaper. Douglas was a theater and English literature major in college. After graduation, she worked as a newspaper reporter and then an editor in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. During her time there, she discovered a long, expensive, classified advertisement offering a black cat named Midnight Louie to the right home for $1. She wrote a feature story on the plucky survival artist, putting it in the cat's point of view. The cat found a country home, but its name was revived for her feline PI mystery series many years later. Some of the Midnight Louie series entries include the dedication for the real and original Midnight Louie. 9 lives were not enough. This week's question is, in 1991, Dutch writer William Klinkhammer wrote his book, Wednesday Mince Day. What did he do right before he delivered the manuscript? A, he murdered his wife. B, he robbed a bank. C, he shot himself. D, he cashed a forged check. Tune in next week for the answer. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode. We have another 2 authors for Fright Reads in the next episode, and we hope you join us then. So be sure and join us. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and you'll join us next week. And remember,
Life would be boring without a little mystery.
Bye.
Bye.